Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Friday, April 4th, after the Celtics win over the Phoenix Suns. 123 to 103, the final score. Devin Booker had 37 points, but nobody else in the Suns did much. Celtics, great job defending the Suns. Solid offensive performance. Kristaps got hurt. We'll talk about it. Jaylen played well. We'll talk about it. Lots of stuff, but a good win for the Celtics bounce back after losing to the Heat on Tuesday.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's like the expectations? Do you think it's the talent on the roster? Like, why does it feel like every time we watch the Suns that they're the worst team in the NBA? Because they're not, but it feels like they are.
I said this to Noah upstairs when the game was happening and Justin. I rarely look at a team and be like, okay, yeah, the coach is the problem. I look at the Suns and I'm like, all right, yeah, the coach is kind of the problem. And I do think a lot of it, and I think this is the reason the Suns look like the worst team against Celtics, but aren't the worst team. Any team that plays a style of defense that gives up solid threes to even like one or two players is not going to play well against the Celtics because the Celtics have built a lineup where everyone can shoot fucking threes. And historically, Mike Budenholzer is let's protect the paint, give up some threes. Against a team like the Nuggets with Russell Westbrook or the Knicks with Josh Hart or even like the Thunder where they have a Lou Dort on the roster who's a good three-point shooter, but not like, okay, yeah, this guy's a shooter. You can get away with some of that. Like, and I was just naming good teams. Obviously, you can get away with it, especially against teams like the Wizards and, you know, the Hornets and teams who are just bad. But like with teams who don't have a 5-out offense that they can go to at times, the Suns are probably all right. That is like the last thing you can do against the Celtics. And whenever you play a team like the Celtics, you're just screwed because the defense that Mike Budenholzer runs is Nick Richards is going to follow the driver in the pick and roll, and they'll try to rotate to the threes. And I mean, there's also an element to it at this point where there was a play late in this game where I forget who I think Derek White had a three, and Devin Booker just like didn't close out. Just like I just think they're also just like done because I think there's an element to that too. But I do think a lot of it is the defense they're running combined with the Celtics style of offense. It's just like a disaster matchup for them.
Yeah, I wrote about like tonight. It was just like it's really cool that everybody on the Celtics played. Like they're all healthy today. And one of the things I talked about was like I was like maybe we should all take it with a grain of salt that they look good today because they played the Suns team. And Phoenix is literally a team that just looks like they're sick of losing more games than they thought they would lose. Like that's what it looks like out there. But nobody clicked on this to hear us talk about the Suns. The Celtics did look good. They played really good team basketball today. They had 28 assists, which is always really fun. Jaylen was really good in this game. He had 31 points. He was 10 of 16 from the field. He had a sick pass to Cornet for a dunk underneath after beating his man off the dribble. This is a prolonged good stretch of basketball from Jaylen. They just turn all the lights on. Jaylen leading into this game, I think was like at like 18 points a game on 51-36 splits over his last 4 appearances. So it only got better today. And he was 3 of 4 from 3 in this game, mind you, which 3-point shooting has not been good for him this year. But there may be something to what you had originally said about like he wants to learn this injury. He wants to learn it. And he keeps talking about that at the podium. Like we all kind of like had a chat, like, what'd you think? And it was like, he just seems sad, which is a very real reaction to have to being hurt. Like I get hurt all the time and I come on here and tell you how sad I am. It sucks because you know you're capable of doing more, but you can't. And it's a tough thing to deal with, but credit to him. He's learning to deal with it. He is playing against the Suns team that you said it, defense, not good. Did it against Miami team, not a good Miami team. But I don't know. He's putting the ball in the basket. Still have to make the shots. Still have to get the burst on your legs when you take the jump to take the jump shot. Like it's not nothing that he's playing well. The efficiency is better now, which is good. The efficiency is the biggest thing I'm looking for because if they ask Jaylen to play a small role in the playoffs, he has to be efficient in the fewer looks that he's going to get.
Yeah, I mean, after the game, Jaylen said something along the lines of like, "I wish I could tell you more, but this is what I'm dealing with." He's more hurt than I think we're realizing. And I believe now more than ever what I speculated after the Heat game. I think it is like something that he'll need surgery on in the summer, but he's not going to get the surgery until then because he wants to be able to play in the playoffs. I don't know that for sure, but just his whole vibe is like, this is not going to go away anytime soon. And I'm just hoping to be ready for the playoffs and hope the pain goes down a little and I can push through it. Like that's my read on it. We don't really know. Go watch the press conference on CLNS Media. Like every single quote is about the knee, and you can get like a vibe for how he's feeling and stuff. But as far as his actual play in this game, I thought it was so impressive how he slowed things down and like got to his spots on offense. I've been talking about it all year. Like it feels like at the start of the season, Jaylen Brown was sort of going in line with the Celtics 3-point ways, right? He was taking a bunch of threes. He was getting his shots that way and doing whatever. And then as the season has gone on, you've slowly seen him like go against the grain. The Celtics are still taking a ton of threes. And literally on the night where they set the all-time record for the most threes made in a single season, Jaylen Brown was 7 of 12 from inside the arc. And like you said, he was 3 or 4 from outside the arc. So he did that too. But just the way he gets to his spots, whether it's mismatches against the guards, getting deep post positioning against Royce O'Neal, driving on the big man, the pass you mentioned to Luke Cornet, that was a great pass to Luke Cornet. He had like 3 other passes to Luke Cornet that were all waved off because of fouls. Like his chemistry with Luke Cornet in the pick and roll was awesome tonight too. And he talked about it after the game. I asked him about like how he's seen his progression in that. And he talked about like, this is the first year he's really felt the responsibility and the need and the, ability to get other players involved on top of that. So sort of like taking his scoring ability and transferring it into that role of a playmaker. And you really saw that in this game. He only had, I don't even think he finished with a lot of assists, but just the way he only had 3 assists, but the way he like controlled the game and played at his own pace, I feel like that's a very unique, he almost plays like Kristaps, but as a guard. Like they have very similar play styles in their
I like that.
willingness, like their ability to find mismatches. It's sort of like, I don't want to say derails the Celtics offense, but it takes the Celtics offense out of its normal, progression in a good way. It's like the curveball Joe Mazzulla always talked about last year, like them playing in the post, them running the offense the way they like to run the offense is different from the way, like it's a lot of pick and roll. It's a lot of movements with Tatum and Peyton and Derek White and those guys. And these guys have it. It's a lot of, we are going to bully you guys in isolation until you either give us a shot we like, or we can make a pass to someone else. And I think Jaylen did a really, really good job of sort of controlling that pace and playing his game on offense in this one.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm just thinking about the press conference. He's not only hurt, then he has to go up there and have a bunch of people tell him how he's hurt. He has to sit up there as we're all like, "Hey man, you're hurt. What do you think?" I'm like kind of hurt right now, and my girlfriend was like, "How you doing?" And I just like looked at her. I was like, "I'm hurt. I'm still hurt. I was hurt. I'm wincing. Of course I'm hurt." I feel for him. The more and more like I'm around the team like this, like I just think the athletes have such a weird life where like they just get asked questions about their job every day, and it's so weird. But like it's part of all of this. Anyways, that's not why people are here. Jaylen, I'm happy with how he looked today. And if he is figuring it out, and it's part of the process of him figuring out, that's great. The last thing I want to talk about with him in the press conference is he said this the other day too. And he was like, yeah, like when the playoffs get here, like we got something for that. Like he said it at the end today. They're just going to like numb him. Is that what it is? Is there a recovery plan that's in place right now for strengthening whatever's having problems? I don't know. I don't expect you to know. I'm just trying to like think about what it could possibly mean. It probably means some sort of just medicine or whatever they're going to give him. That has to be what it is.
I assume so. Yeah, I assume it's just like, yeah, we've got, whether it's a treatment plan or some numbing cream or something that he doesn't want to use now, so he can get as used to it as possible, I should say, playing through it, and then they'll like go from there. But like I said before, and I'll continue to say, like, we don't know. We will not know. He made it clear that like, I wish I could tell you more. Like, we won't know more. Like, we will not know more about this injury until the inevitable, in my opinion, off season, like, oh, this is what happened, this is what's going on thing that comes out. So we'll have to see. Outside of Jaylen in this game, we need to talk about the prize picks, which is the best place to get real money sports action. Henry failed on the prize picks today. We gave him the reins. He went 2 for 3. He was happy about 2 for 3, which, it didn't do much. I will say, though, better than we usually do. So a little bit of credit Henry's way for the prize picks is that he did better than us. However, as you pointed out so aptly on Twitter, 2 out of 3 does not win, but you
Doesn't
can
win
win.
you anything. You go 1
You
of
can win
5,
with
you get
prize
the same
picks.
prize.
You can win with prize picks, as it is the best place to get real money sports action down the stretch of this basketball season. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player props, and you will have a chance to win. Baseball season starting up too. You can combine players from different sports in your picks as well. So if you want to pick a Celtic and a Red Sox, you can make that happen. You can now win up to 1,000 extra money on prize picks. It's available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, Florida. Sam and I do prize picks every single pregame show. We're not very good at it, but we have a lot of fun doing the prize picks. And I always say, if you want a chance, maybe you just take the opposite of we do, because we're that not very good at it. But it also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Every Tuesday, prize picks discounts, select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize picks, run your game. Back to the Celtics Suns. Jaylen was really good. Obviously, I think that was sort of the star of the show, the top guy. Past that, I think the secondary story is Kristaps got hurt in this game. He had 15, 4-1, 5 of 12, 2 of 5.
He got whacked in this game. Let's not scare people that didn't watch it. He got like a bloody nose that had stitches.
Sure.
That's it. Continue.
I would qualify stitches as hurt. He got injured,
like,
but I know what you mean.
Hurt,
the connotation
like,
of hurt.
What happened
sure.
to his knee?
Sure, the connotation of hurt, whatever. He went up to block a Cody Martin dunk, got called for a foul, it got reversed to an offensive foul. He got whacked in the face by Cody Martin, hit across the nose, went back to the tunnel, hyped up the crowd as he had like a bloody face, whatever. Celtics announced that he had a cut on his nose that required stitches. He was listed as questionable return, which isn't super notable except for the fact that he wasn't doubtful. So that probably means it's not too bad, I guess, if you really want to like speculate and take everything into account. But he had a smile on his face when he was going back. He did have to get stitches. But based on everything, it seems like he'll be all right.
Yeah, and he played well in this game. Like him, Tatum, and Jaylen combined for 68 points. Like when you're thinking about what does it look like when everybody's healthy for the Celtics and you're really, where does the ball go? Who gets the shots? Like I think there are great alternatives to this question, but I think your first knee jerk might be if you need somebody to create a basket for you, those are the 3 guys you would ask to do so. Again, I'm not saying Derek can't score. We've seen him go nuts in the playoffs. Drew can score, so on. But I think those are the main creators, and have them all play pretty well in the same game is pretty encouraging. Like what we saw from Kristaps today. I think he's just a lot of fun to watch, obviously, with the dunks. And I think it's fun that they can throw him the ball at the free throw line, and he can be aggressive that way. And he gives them a new layer to their offense that they haven't had before he got here. Made a couple threes, had a block. Like, yeah, pretty standard Kristaps output in this game, but good to see it. And he's continued to look really, really good since he came back the second time from being sick. So just, I think the theme today is just the guys that have been in and out have looked pretty good over the last however many weeks, with the playoffs just getting closer and closer.
Indeed. I think it's a good thing when you can have all 3 of those guys have solid games, like you said. Justin Turpin kept pointing it out when we were talking upstairs, and everyone talked about it after the game. Like, it did feel like Joe Mazzulla ran this as a playoff rotation. First time they've been healthy in a little while. Jaylen was upgraded to available shortly before the game due to the knee. Obviously, they lost Kristaps in the early 4th, but Jaylen played 28. He's on a minutes restriction, but Tatum got 34. Derek White got 32. Drew got 28. Pritchard, the bench rotation looked about right, which you expected. So it was nice to see at least a little bit, maybe, of a sneak preview, minus Jaylen on a minutes restriction and KP exiting early 4th. So we'll have to see moving forward what that leads to. For now, it was a nice sneak preview.
Yeah, it was kind of weird with the way the last stretch of games has gone, because so many guys have been in and out of the lineup, and there's been so many more opportunities for somebody like Baylor Shireman. And then there's this game where Baylor Shireman didn't play until garbage time. You're like, damn, guy had a little bit of momentum. Sucks for him. But at the end of the day, when you're shortening the rotation, you're playing less guys. Like 9 guys, I think, is more. Well, it's the same team as last year. So he was really well. He was really running 8 guys in the playoffs because Pritchard didn't play a whole lot. So
Luke
it's
was hurt
actually,
too.
and Luke was hurt. So it's actually more than Missoula was really doing last year. So even this is a little bit more friendly to the rotation guys, right? So Shireman just probably isn't going to play in the playoffs. Those of you that have talked yourself into that, this is not the year. Eventually, yes, but not this year.
No, not this year. Weird game for Tatum. Good game for Tatum, but a weird game for Tatum because he was so cold from 3. 9 of 18 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. He took the most shots on the team, but I don't know. It didn't feel like he took the most shots on the team to me. Maybe I'm just like blinded. Like he did jack up some threes, or maybe you're like, all right, don't do that. As he always does, as he always will, and I think we just got to get used to it because it's not going to change. Spoiler alert! But he had 23, 8, and 8. Right? He had 8 assists. He had a steal, a block. He only had 2 turnovers. Celtics didn't have a lot of turnovers in this game at all. They only had 7. But it really felt like, despite the fact that Tatum had more assists and more shots, that Jaylen was running the show for more of this game. I don't know if that's just because he had more points and he was more effective, like efficiency wise, but like the box score doesn't match the eye test, in my opinion, of this game. That, again, not to say that Tatum didn't play well. He played great, and he did the exact, like, this is like the typical post All-Star break Tatum game. Can't make his threes, but flirting with the triple double, as you always like to say. But it just didn't feel like he was the lead guy in this one, even though the box score would say he was.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. Like, he just did his job today. The threes will come and go. I don't like that it's 8 threes on a night where he's only made 1, but that's just kind of how it goes for Tatum. And I've complained about this for years and think he should shoot less of them or whatever. But I don't think there were that many of them that I was like, damn, that's a terrible shot. Like, Jack's right. You didn't feel like Tatum was taking all the shots in this game. You know, that's good. Like, all the assists were there for him. And ultimately, we've reached a point with Tatum where I think that is the measuring stick for how effective, how impactful was Tatum in this game. That's the column you're looking at. What he can do for the rest of the squad is the real, like, found money. You can just assume you're going to get 25-ish plus. Usually it's more than that, but that's like the baseline. When you're getting 8 assists, which you have gotten quite a bit recently, he's been really dishing the ball since the All-Star break. That's where you feel like you're like, oh man, like this is a leg up. It's great.
Yeah, I'm just like watching back some of the Tatum threes. There was like a 1 step back in the first, but most of these are the classic Tatum's coming down off a screen, going to shoot it, and he got like some catch and shoot games in the shots in this one too. Like, no, he didn't take a lot of bad shots. Obviously, you look at the box where you see 1 of 8. It's easy to say like, oh, like what the hell? What are you doing? And he did take a couple step backs, but it wasn't egregious. And for what it's worth, not that it matters. By the time, like he took all of his threes in the first and third quarter. Like he took 5 in the first and then 3 in the third. And he only took like 3 step backs, and one of them was when it was like a 20-point game. I don't know. I just looked at threes. They weren't that bad. Feel free to look for yourself and see it. But like Sam said, like I said, it didn't feel like this was a big, like, what the fuck, man? Why are you shooting 1 of 8? Like they were all pretty much in rhythm, and it just didn't go down. It is what it is. He's still at 8 assists, which is like we're glossing over because that's just kind of what Tatum does at this point, which kind of cool, kind of fun that that's just like a normal thing for him now. But speaking of high assist games, the emergence of Derek White as like a 7 assist a night guy for these past like 10, 15 games now. I need to look at the actual numbers, but he had 12, 9, and 7 in this game. He was 4 of 9 from the field, 4 of 8 from 3, so he just missed his 2-point attempt. It feels like, and the stats would tell you, they're putting the ball in Derek's hand a lot more. Like he is running these pick and rolls with Luke. He's running pick and rolls with Tatum, and he's running some of these actions with Jay. Like he is sort of being this puppet master of the offense. And I think it's good to get Tatum and Brown off the ball a little bit more. You're seeing a lot more cutting from these guys lately. Like Jaylen and Jayson have been cutting to the rim a lot more. And even if they don't get the ball, it's just like clear space on one side of the floor for an open 3 for someone else. And as those guys are working out the ball, it is Derek who's getting the beneficiary, or who has been the beneficiary of like, okay, you're going to get some more touches here. It hasn't really translated to like these 30-point scoring nights, but he's filling up the assist column. So it's fun to see that little change in the way the Celtics offense, or maybe not even change, but like the wrinkle they're adding to their game.
And that's an important wrinkle. It's something we've talked about on here for a while. I think the two of us agree that Derek as the ball handler in a pick and roll is usually a very good thing. He's very good downhill with the floater. He's a good jump shooter if they go under. He's a good decision maker with the ball. Luke Cornet, elite screener. If you're going to run pick and roll with him, I could probably do it and be all right. Maybe not, but I could do my best. I'm curious to see if we see more of the Tatum, Derek White pick and roll. It's something that we talked about a lot last year is like, should they do this at the end of the games and get easy clutch mismatches or whatever's going to come of it? That's a great way to create it. And it does take the pressure off these other guys. And with, you mentioned the last 10 or 15 games. Well, what has the last 10 or 15 games really consisted of in the Celtics story arc this season? It's been a lot of this, how hurt is Jaylen stuff. So maybe and let's not pretend that the first half of this season, Jaylen wasn't being asked to do more playmaking and there were clear growing pains with that. So maybe with that responsibility kind of going off of Jaylen, it's going on to Derek White, and he's doing fine. Like, I'm good with that. If they want to have him be a focal point and Jaylen just have his spots where he's getting to the elbow and, all the things he talked about at the podium, whether it's posting up Rose O'Neal or whatever, he can do that. Like, that's fine. And you're keeping miles off of him. He's not having to get downhill every single time and really put pressure on the defense in the paint. He's able to just do it in his own way. And Derek can do the other part. That's fine with me.
Yeah, not including tonight. If this will, I don't know if this is going to show me averages. Not including tonight, he was averaging 5.6 points assists, since February 2nd. And then in his last 8 games, he's up to 7 assists a night on 14, 6, and 7 splits. So he's just taking more of that playmaker role, which is fun to see. Also fun to see is game time. Because it's the best place for all your ticketing needs this baseball season, because you can see exactly where you are going to sit in the arena. Let me pull up Game Time, show you exactly what I'm talking about. It's my favorite feature of Game Time is that when you're looking to buy tickets for any event, whether it be basketball, whether it be baseball, as the season starts up this spring, you can see exactly what your seat will look like at the venue at which you're looking to purchase tickets. Also for hockey. So we can take a look at that too, because the Bruins are wrapping up what has been a less than stellar season, but that doesn't change the fact that Game Time is the best place to buy tickets for the Bruins. Right here, TD Garden.
Putting up the ice
you can see indeed, you can see the arena, obviously TD Garden right here. You can click on a seat that you potentially want to sit at, and the view pops up for that type of event, so you can see exactly how you'll see the Bruins game. It even shows you that the home team will shoot twice on one end because there are 3 periods, so if you want to watch the Bruins shoot more on your side of the ice, you can go find seats there. The Fire Emblem, it's the cheapest ticket in the arena for that event. You can toggle on and off a feature to see the fees in the tickets that you are purchasing, so you won't be surprised with any hidden fees by the time you wrap up your ticketing purchase. Game Time also comes with the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. On top of that, Game Time ticket coverage means your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. But talk JB, JT, KP, and DW. DW didn't sound right when I was saying that. Have you ever seen
Terrible.
Arthur?
You
seen Arthur?
What?
Arthur, the show.
I'm aware of Arthur. Yes.
His sister's name's DW. That's
that I did not remember. I probably knew it at one point. Forgot it. Also, I have to ask you, how did you get the cover on this? Mine, I tried pushed 2 covers. It would not get on.
Yeah. I forced it. It was tough. Yeah.
All right.
For the audio listener, talking about the cups of soda we got from the calf at TD Garden. Regardless, starting with the bench, where do we want to start? I'm going to start with Luke Cornet. That's my guy. He's been so sick, dude. 12 points off the bench in 15 minutes, 5 of 7 from the field, 4 rebounds, all of which were offensive rebounds. Cornet has perfected the art of the tap-out rebound where he just fucking slaps it back to whoever's on the perimeter. I don't know what else there is to say about Luke Cornet. The pick and roll has expanded past Tatum. We've talked a bunch about how great the Tatum Cornet pick and roll has been, and it still has been, and it still is, and it still was in the Suns game, but that has expanded. The Heat game, obviously, where he was so great, he was running the pick and roll with Tatum and Derek White. In this game, he was running with Jaylen Brown a lot more. sooner or later he's gonna be running with fucking Kristaps at this point. Like just pick and roll with Luke Cornet. It doesn't matter who's the ball handler. He's been awesome. Like I said, he had 12 points in 15 minutes. He is unbelievably effective around the basket. His rim protection has been great. The Celtics were sending a lot of pressure, a lot of not necessarily double teams, but they were pressuring the ball a lot in this game and helping off of guys like Oso Iguodaro and Nick Richards. And it ended up being Luke Cornet who had to help over and get back a lot. And there were a couple times in this game where he had to get back, and he was doing a good job moving his feet and being a little bit everywhere in defense. Not enough good things can be said about Luke Cornet and the impact. I put out an article on Harvard Houdini, it will be out today at noon as you're listening to this, about Missoula and Jaylen Brown praising his impact in the screening and stuff like that. I talked to Luke earlier in the season about his screening and how he's like adapting and, how he reads the game in terms of screens. It was interesting. You can go check that out. I did a video on it too. He's been like a revelation for the Celtics team. They didn't sign anybody in free agency, but they might as well have, because Missoula, as Missoula said after the Heat game, he was like always good at this, but he's like elite now at screening. So shout out Luke. He just continues to impress.
So I'm not going to say anything about Luke's actual meaningful gameplay, because why would I do that? Jack said plenty. This game consisted of maybe the greatest 3 dunk stretch of, oh my God, he could have just had like the most incredible dunk ever if he made the dunk. He had an alley-oop dunk that I think he missed. Then he had like a near DeAndre Jordan type poster on Bradley Beal, which he missed, but he was fouled. And then he had a reverse dunk that I think missed as well. And I actually went over to Jack and I was like, I actually don't think I've ever seen Luke Cornet miss this many shots ever, because he never misses, because he only takes shots.
He got fouled on almost all of them, though, no?
I don't know if they called fouls on them. How many free throws he actually shoot in this game?
I don't think. Well, Luke, one of them they called on the floor, which I thought was bullshit, because I remember writing it in my notes, because I remember the exact stretch you're talking about, because Jaylen passed him to the ball like every time, right? Like this was the Jaylen Cornet pick and roll that I was talking about.
2 of 2.
Let me see. I wrote these down. Okay, I wrote these down in my little ideas thing. Let me see exactly what happened in that stretch. If my Google Docs would decide to load, it's 50 pages long, so it's gonna take a second. So in that stretch, my notes say Suns foul, 9:34, Brown Cornet pick and roll. Luke almost threw down insane lob. Next possession, Suns foul again, 9:27, almost threw down lob again. Back-to-back plays was sick. And then Cornet miss, then make. Brown dump and pass. Great play by JB later.
This could have been a huge night for the Luke Cornet mixtape. Like the Luke Cornet was a problem TikTok.
If only.
Could have had 3 clips from this game. The national media would have been talking about Luke Cornet after this game if he dunked on Bradley Beal. Like, he was set up, and, let him be a force. But Luke is another casualty to everyone being healthy. He only played 15 minutes in this game, which is not quite up to what he's been doing.
Unfortunate. Bill Chisholm also went up to Bobby Manning before this game and another fun wrinkle to the night, which is very funny. Outside of Luke, Peyton Pritchard also played well in this game, but him, Hauser, and Allie even a little bit were, like you mentioned, casualties to the playoff rotation a little bit. They didn't play as much as they might other nights. Peyton Pritchard had 10, though, on 4 of 5 shooting from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. Hauser was 2 of 6 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3. He had a nice play where he drove. Maybe this was the Heat game. I think it was tonight, though, where he drove in off a closeout and created a shot for somebody else, though, which was fun. So that was a nice little Hauser wrinkle. I think Brown got the assist, but Hauser created it by driving a closeout. Horford was good too, 7 points, 3 and 2 rebounds, assists. Bench was solid, quality minutes. It's funny that Luke played the least minutes by far on the bench by 6 minutes and had the most points. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. Oh, Drew. We didn't talk about Drew. Drew was fine. I mean, he killed the prize pick, so maybe we get Matt Henry for that. But he had 10 points, 3 assists, 1 rebound.
He fucked us. There's no way around it.
It's just a quiet Drew game. He's been doing a little more lately. I wonder if this is another thing of okay, let's play like we're gonna play in the playoffs. We'll feed the top guys, and if Drew needs to step up, we'll have those things ready. But let's try to run this like we're gonna run a playoff game, and that means Drew's not gonna have as much, of an offensive need. They're not gonna need him as much as an offense, but he was fine too. So, anything else you wanted to go over from this game that we didn't outside? I mean, we talked about the start too. The Suns are horrible.
I actually think I might hate the Phoenix Suns. Like, I'm so mad that I had to watch the Phoenix Suns twice.
You know what was funny too?
I'm furious.
I mentioned it briefly. These I turned. I forget who I was talking to. It was Noah or Justin because they were sitting next to me at the start of this game, and I go, I don't know if I've seen the Celtics care about anybody less than they don't care about Oso Ighodaro. They were like, please God, give this man the basketball. He like they there was a stretch in the first quarter, I think it was. Maybe second quarter, where the Celtics stopped 2 inbound passes. Like Devin Booker was trying to get the ball in 2 different times, and he couldn't do it because the Celtics were pressuring really well. Drew kicked it once, and Tatum almost got a steal the next time. And then the very next play, Oso Ighodaro just walked to half court and got the ball, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever, give that guy the ball." They just didn't care, and he was fine.
He should have said the paint.
He finished with 6 of 8 from the field, like the little Isaiah Hartenstein floaters, mostly 12 and 7. He had 3 offensive rebounds. But they could not care less when this guy touched the ball. Like their game plan was, we are going to pressure the hell out of Devin Booker, and instead we're going to let Royce O'Neal, Oso Ighodaro, and Nick Richards take shots when needed, and it worked. It worked really well.
Big Papi was here. That was cool. They put him on the jumbotron.
Papi was here,
and then they put
Jaylen actually had a fun bit about. I was going to say, Jaylen had a fun tidbit that he's been watching Paul Pierce highlights to practice playing slower and playing in the post and getting his buckets in a different way. So that was a cool thing, too, that Corrales got.
I was sitting with Bobby and Cam upstairs, and I was like, so, when I realized Big Papi was here, I got really excited. I was like, oh, because Big Papi and Paul Pierce, in that window, before I was involved in everything. So,
yeah.
They're still, Titans to me, and I was like, man, I don't know how anybody cannot love Big Papi. And then either Cam or Bobby reminded me that Big Papi was in fact shot. So there must be at least one person that is not a fan of Big Papi.
Also, one of the Jumbotron, and I got hit with the "Who's that?" from Noah, and she figured it out after a second. But it was a crazy, what the hell. I was you muted, or I can't hear you, or
I might have messed that up.
What'd you say?
Noah's maybe 30 feet from me. I should go scream at her.
Yeah. She also hit me with we're talking about the WrestleMania thing about KP because Jared Weiss tweeted about it, and she was like, I don't know what that is. So she just a top tier uncultured Noah night.
We should all
time
get together and make Noah watch WrestleMania.
WrestleMania rocks. I'm excited for WrestleMania. When is
first
WrestleMania?
Weekend of the playoffs, though. It sucks.
Oh,
19th and
that
20th.
does suck.
It sucks.
That does suck.
I hope the Celtics get a day game.
I don't have anything else from this one. Do you have anything else from this one?
No, that was it for me. My big take was Big Papi was here.
Let's call it there. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like. Go read my Tyler Lashbrook article, and I'll let Sam take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you leave a like, comment, tell us what you thought of Celtics Suns. Tell us how much you hate the Phoenix Suns. You can also subscribe and hit the bell. Jack and I are doing new stuff every single day. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps like this one are up the morning after each game. And other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All pods and recaps are up there. So if you just want the audio version, go ahead, follow us. They will go right to your feed. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. Tell your friends. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Playoffs are coming. What are you looking for in these last, 5 games of the season? Can you believe it? Only 5 games left. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Facebook is the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is JacksMonNBA's. TikTok is at JacksMonNBA. He's putting out good content there all the time. You can follow me on Twitter at SamLaFranceNBA. That's it for us.